Okay, all that said, let's get into the FASP, finish all special, emphasis on the A. Let's get into that real quick. In the past, when I've used FASP, I usually do not use one at a time. Every now and then I will, just to resynchronize timers after making big city adjustments. But pretty rare that I use one at a time. It's usually at least 10, 20, something like that. And I'll plant 3 or 4 forgotten temples in the process. So usually I do not burn up FASP kits casually. One of the things that I've always done is store all of my GBG towers, as well as Neo Colossus, anything like that that can't be rushed. I'll store those in advance and plant some filler that can be rushed, just to fully capitalize on the FASP benefit. So when I first told you about this idea, I did mention that I was planning to dump some FASP kits throughout the process, and I've been thinking about the best way to do that and the best time to do that. So at the beginning of the video, when I said my dumbass used 23 FSP single finish, I used 23 of those kits on Sunhavens. That was actually the correct time to use an FASP. I had the right idea. I want more Jester fragments, right? But in order to accomplish that, I burned up the kit that's actually providing that. So it's that was 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards on that particular day. FASP, that's where that comes in here though. The benefit with FASP to me, the last time I did it, I dumped I think 30 of them, and I put, I don't know, maybe 30 levels onto my AO, 30 or 40 levels onto Pegasus, Centaurus, another 20 levels on Hydra, shit ton of FB, right? Gained a lot of levels on some pretty expensive buildings in the process. That's the benefit to FASP, right? But in this scenario, the goal is to permanently increase FP by building ecos, right? So if FASP is a means, instead of just, like, I could plant all the Yukis I wanted in my city right now, FASP it, make a ton of forge points, right? But as soon as my temples expire and I run out of FASP kits, it's no longer sustainable. So the idea with the eco strategy is to permanently increase forge point production. And if FASP is a means to that end, I totally think it needs to be included in this little process. And I had planned on that at the outset. I just wasn't quite sure how to time it and how to use it. So I'll share with you what I've been chewing on. I'm still not 100% sure how I want to do it, but I think I have a pretty good feeling. All of this ties into the 23 FSP applied to the Sunhaven, right? So playing off of that was a good opportunity to use FASP. Do 23 Sunhaven charges with Blue Galaxy, collect whatever else, and as I level Blue Galaxy, once I run out of Blue Galaxy things to collect, finish all special, and run another level of Blue Galaxy, rinse and repeat, right? So I'm probably going to burn 1 FASP tomorrow, and I'm at level 50 on Blue Galaxy. It's, I don't know, 49. This cycle, I'm probably going to start with Escutcheons, Moogle, Shinto, Yardasil, these Clover runes things. They all give FSP kits. Clover is 50-50 chance, so it's not guaranteed, but it possibly gives it. It's still Blue Galaxy level 50 though, so I don't want to waste Blue Galaxy charges on the shit that I'm actually after, which is Jesters as a means to the hover end. So this is priority number 1 currently, and priority number 2. So I don't want to burn up Blue Galaxy charges on those 2 things right away. So I'll do a Blue Galaxy level on Escutcheons, Blue Galaxy level on Clover, and then Blue Galaxy level on 12 Suns, next Blue Galaxy level on 12 more Suns, last Blue Galaxy level on Ecos, and use up the remaining charges on hover. Finish all special, run another Blue Galaxy level, and repeat. At that point, we'll be up to Blue Galaxy level 60, right? So the next day, probability of a double is going to go up, and kind of continue this pattern. Here's the cool part though, and this is why deleting Blue Galaxy makes all of this work, and this process, this idea, would absolutely not work at all without deleting Blue Galaxy. Here's why that's the key ingredient though, is because these 10 escutcheons at 25 forge points and 10 fragments for FSP is not something that I would normally hit with Blue Galaxy, right? Because normally I'm going to use all 15 charges as well as 15 FSP kits on hover. That's what I want, right? I want more ecos. So at BG 150, I'm going to use all 15 charges on hover. But at BG 50, where it costs fucking 100 forge points to level it, I don't mind spending 12 charges on escutcheons, and the probability is lower. But I mean, I'm going to auto collect in scenario number 1, where we have BG 150 and we use 15 charges on hover. We're going to hit this 15 times and then just auto collect the rest of the city, right? So in that scenario, these escutcheons are getting collected anyways. But in scenario number 2, where we delete Blue Galaxy first and just run disposable levels of it, I'm now collecting these, but they're potentially doubled in the process, and it costs me 0 FSP kits to accomplish that. So even if only one of these escutcheons double, it's one more than I would have got in scenario number 1, where I didn't hit those with Blue Galaxy at all. Does that make sense? So if one doubles, it's an improvement over scenario number 1. Same thing with the Clover Runes, Moogle, things like that. Not normally shit that I would hit with Blue Galaxy, right? So in scenario number 2, we're adding FSP from using BG charges on things like escutcheons. We're also increasing daily FSP production, so that after I store Sun Havens, my city will continue producing a greater quantity of FSP kits every day, and then still using 15 charges on hover at the end, right? And then rinse and repeat with an FASP. And in the process of hitting FASP, I'm getting the benefit of collecting more and more FSP fragments from the gestures that I'm adding as I go. Does that make sense? So let's jump into edit mode. I'll show you real quick how that's going to look. I have 600,000 population currently. I love Yukis, and the end goal of this project is to replant the Yukis where my Sun Havens are currently. So I have I think 9 of the blue ones, 1 silver, and then I don't know, 10 or 11 of the level 10s here. I definitely want more. I probably want 5 or 6 more Yukis. I like the forge points, 109 plus the population to justify things like Octo Orb. So that kind of ties into your question the other day. Realistically, how many of those Octo Orbs could you afford to plant? Well, if my entire city is eco, which is only 19,000 population drain, right? Like 19, 20, something like that. It's not brutal on population. So if my entire city is filled with ecos and Yukis, that's where my forge points and goods come from. And at that point, attack will come from all the Neo shit that I've been storing to plant store kit producers. I get that it's circular. I do understand that, but there is a method to the madness. Because Holy Hauler is decent, but in terms of attackability and forge points, it's not really the best. So eventually I do want to pull all my Neo shit back out of inventory, right? And at that point I've got basically a city filled with Yukis, Ecos, and Neo shit, and that's it. And the Ecos are just lined with Jester stages. Does that make sense so far? Anyways, sorry for rambling. I've created little pockets around the city that are 6x6, or can be broken down into 6x6, and I've created those pockets in multiple spots around the city. So in the end, I do want more Yuki towers, right? But for the purpose of this process, I don't need the population from Yuki, and the fragments are not useful to me. So as I do a finish all, I'll take the Jester fragments I get, store a Yuki, move that Sunhaven into its location in order to free up the road space for more Jesters. I'm not going to store Sunhavens during this phase because Sunhaven is still giving me the fragments that I want, right? What I want is FSP from the Jester, and I want Jester frags from the Sunhaven. Ultimately, I do want more Yukis, but as a means to an end, the Yukis can go for now in order to generate more Jesters, as well as more finished special kits from the Jesters that I plant as I go. Does that make sense? And then once I hit Blue Galaxy level 80, all the FSP kits that I've been generating, which for the most part I haven't been using until I get fucking impatient and burn 23 of them on Sunhavens. That was a blunder. That was really stupid. I didn't think that through. But for the most part, if you're restrained on the FSP use, by the time I hit Blue Galaxy 80 or 90, I should have, I don't know, 300 or so FSP kits to apply to the Evergreen, right? And then this is a 6x6 location that's kind of already planned out for an eco. And that's when Sunhavens can go. Does that make sense? Sorry for rambling, and this video ended up being longer than I wanted it to be, but I hope this is helpful, because the timing of FASB was kind of what I was unsure about with this project. I knew that I was going to use them at some point in the process. I just didn't know how to time that. But I think using one FASP basically every 10 Blue Galaxy levels is actually a pretty healthy balance. That's kind of where my brain's at right now. So I only have 7 of them in inventory. I think I can use 3 and get my Blue Galaxy up to 100 with probably 2 more ecos. Delete it again, but at that point I'll be done with the Sunhavens. So phase number 2, I'll still have 4 FASP kits left. I'm done with Sunhavens though, and that entire footprint will be Yuki and Jester stages at that point. And then just filling in ecos with the locations that I've created. I think that's a pretty good balance. So definitely chaotic though. So on a side note too, this is my edit mode that I haven't saved yet, but I've grouped Escutcheons and Moogle and Shinto down with Evergreen in anticipation of making that change tomorrow. Just on a side note, I haven't saved it yet. My Escutcheons are still in the back up there. But this is the edit mode that I am planning to save tomorrow for that purpose. I get that it's tedious, bro, and it seems like insanity, but the alternative is scenario number 1, where you don't delete Blue Galaxy and you just farm hover 15 times a day, hope you don't run out of FSP kits. That's even more tedious, in my opinion. The system that I've designed here has already shaved off, I don't know, it's already shaved off at least a month for me in the process. And I think it'll escalate pretty quick now that we're getting into halfway reasonable Blue Galaxy levels. You know, level 49 through 60, you can actually start getting some decent probability on those double dips, plus more charges per level. So, yeah, I think it'll work out pretty well in the end. But that's the FASP idea. So, I'll talk to you later, bro. Bye.